It's going to be quick and easy. All you need is one tool in your hands, a 10mm socket. Let's get to it. Alright, the first thing we need to do is remove this piece of trim from the dash. It's very easy. Just start from the right and work to the left. It's held on by clips. We're going to use our fingers underneath the bottom lip to the right. We're going to pull up and we'll see it releases. Just like that. The next thing we need to do is remove each one of these air vents. Very easy, just start from the top. There are almost like pull tabs for you to grab onto, but just be careful, you don't want to break any of the plastic. So we'll pull kind of from the bottom and the top, and it should slide right out, just like that. So then we'll do the left one, just like so. Now before we can remove the head unit itself, we need to reveal 2 of the 4 screws that are holding it into the dash, and those are underneath this piece here. So we need to gently remove it. There are 2 clips here and here holding it in, so we can actually push it on either side and pull out. So I'll do that here. Just like that. Now once you have it removed, you can either set it up on the dash or you can pull off the wire harness here. It's held on by a clip underneath. Now we've revealed 2 more screws here, here, and then the 2 bottom ones down here on the right and down here on the left. Now to get out the head unit, we just have to undo these screws with our 10mm socket. Alright, now that we have our screws out in the 4 positions, we can go ahead and carefully pull onto the head unit to release it. It's held on by 2 more clips. But before we do that, we want to get a towel ready so that we don't scratch up this nice polished plastic on the AC controls. So I've got my towel here. I'm going to be ready to put it underneath the stereo because I need to set it down as I pull out the wire harnesses. So here we go. We're going to pull together on the right and left and release the radio. We can pull it out and hold it up while we put the towel underneath. Now that we've got the towel underneath, we can just let the radio rest. So now we've got the radio out, it's resting on the towel, so we can work on the wire harness. As you can see, I've now removed all the connectors that go from the wire harness to the unit itself, but not the wires that are connecting the top and bottom half of the unit. Next, we'll go inside and I'll show you how to take apart these units and adapt them to the new head unit. Okay, the next step is just to remove the air vent body from the front face. And we do that by undoing this clip, and the 2 on the opposite side here and here. It's good to try to do one side at a time, so you do both of these and pull out this side, and then do both of these and pull out this side. And this is what it looks like when they come apart. Just like that, you can see these slide in just like so. So we don't need these anymore, we'll keep them for the future, but for now we just need this part. Alright, so we got 1 and 2, just like that, and we can take our new head unit and put them into the right and left slots. So in the same way that the factory plastic faces clipped off of each one of these air vents, they're going to clip in from the rear of the new head unit. So we can go ahead first on this side, line it up with the clips. It should just clip right into place. Now here on the other side, same thing, clips to receive this part. We'll just line it up quite carefully and it should clip in, no problem. It's a lot easier to see the wire harnessing inside, so I'm going to do as much of it as I can here on the counter for you to see before we go out to the vehicle. So I've already installed. Next thing we can do is the factory USB. So the USB comes up from the factory wire harness behind the factory head unit and plugs into something that looks like this. Now this adapter here, it actually comes with this kit, so no extra cost there. You go ahead and find the single USB for this head unit. This is in the wire harness kit. You'll plug it in where it fits, right here, and then you'll just plug in this adapter. And you're done. The next thing we have is our dual USB. This is for kind of auxiliary USB if you want. You can run this to your glove box. That's what I'm going to do. So again, find where it fits. Next we got the auxiliary and the video in. So this is for the auxiliary 3.5mm jack that's underneath your dash. And then one of these is for the front facing and one of these is for the rear view backup camera. So I only have the rear, so I'll just figure out which one it is and plug it in accordingly. So this goes into the head unit. And then this will go into this unit's wire harness. So this unit's wire harness is a mess. This is what's all going to connect to the wire harness of the car, but we'll just connect this initially here to our head unit. This goes to the CAN decoder. Get that out of the way. Next we have the FM antenna, which is going to go right here. So now we have the auxiliary audio and the rear and front camera, if it's relevant, from the car, which is going to go to the head unit. Alright, now although this looks like a mess right now, it is pretty straightforward once we get in the vehicle. We're just going to find the connectors from the factory harness that plug into these connectors, and we're pretty much there. So we're back in the car. We got our towel here to protect the dash. We got all of our factory wire harness here ready to attach to the new head unit's wire harness. Now before we take the new head unit and put it in, we want to put all of our external USB and our microphone extension cable into the dash and route it here in behind the glove box. Now it's not too hard. You just remove the glove box, and just with some light you'll see there are big gaps in here so that you can take these and throw them right behind the glove box. So just drop the glove box, squeeze either side, and it'll pop right out. Now that we've got our glove box out, we want to take these external USBs and our microphone extension and run them out behind the glove box. And now we got them behind the glove box. Alright, so now that we've run all the USB to the back of the glove box and our microphone extension, we're ready to set up the wire harness. Now, it does look like a mess, I realize this, but don't be too discouraged. There's only one connector that goes with each connector from the factory harness, so just hunt around for that connector one at a time and you should be good to go. The only other thing you need to look out for is which video input to use for your rear backup camera. And if you have a front camera, you might accidentally swap them. That's okay. There are only two inputs, just swap them if you get them mixed up. This one here is the FM antenna. We got our power connector here. Got all our steering wheel controls here. Our factory USB port. Another connector here, I'm not exactly sure which one this is for. And then this one, this last connector here, I believe this has our video on it for the backup camera. Any other connectors that don't have a buddy, don't worry about these. These are for a different wire harness. The last thing to consider is where to put this ground wire. I'm just going to attach it to one of the screws that's typically used to attach the factory head unit. So that's not going anywhere. Now that we got all our wire harnessing done, it's time to test the functionality of the head unit to make sure it's communicating right with the car, that we have our backup camera, that all the steering wheel controls are working, that it boots up at all. That'd be a good place to start. So let's go ahead and tuck some of this wiring back into the dash and turn on the car. So that should be good enough. Let's go ahead and start up the car. We don't have to wait for it to boot up. We can put it right into reverse and we should get our backup camera. If you don't, if you get a missing signal icon, just go ahead and take this out and switch the video inputs. So now that we booted up the device, the car is on, we can test some of the functionality like steering wheel controls, as well as some of the CAN bus functionality like doors, like the AC, and the steering wheel controls. So that's just about it to know that I'm connected pretty much perfectly. I'll test out a few other things like the USB connections perhaps on a phone to make sure it's charging in the factory port. Just check all these things before you finish the installation so that you don't have any surprises once you're done. Now that we've checked all the functionality of the device, we can complete the installation. Before we press the device into the dash, we need to go ahead and reinstall this component here. Clean it off, just because it'll be the easiest to clean right now. This last step is just a little bit confusing because when this plastic trim piece goes back into the dash, it needs to go back into the dash at the same time as the head unit. We can't put one in without the other. And the reason is because this top lip here actually goes above this lip here on this plastic trim piece. So we want to go ahead and pull the head unit out just a little bit so that we can reveal these two plastic clips here, because they need to go right up behind this plastic trim. So now that they're together, we can press them up together into place and press them into the dash. Alright, now I know that's a little bit difficult because you kind of got to dance these two pieces in together, but there is a way. Just take your time, don't rush anything, and don't force anything into place.